in high definition. Central Coast News right now.
A local Safeway grocery store suspends a worker for being a hero. Police said that employee stopped a man from beating his pregnant girlfriend and possibly saved her life.
But his actions may cost him his job.
When we're expecting a child, I've been suspended for probably over just about a month now without pay, you know, for doing something that I feel was right, that the police are telling me was right.
Well, it's a Central Coast News exclusive.
Central Coast News reporter Jacqueline Tuwala is live in Delray Oaks, where the man is speaking out about why he jumped in and why he's not working anymore. Jacqueline?
That's right, Mark. I spoke with the police chief here at the Delray Oaks police station, who sent this letter to Safeway basically defending that employee. In this letter, it states that if it wasn't for his actions, this all could have resulted in a much worse way. Ryan Young was doing his job as a meat clerk at this Safeway when he says he looked up and saw this guy, Quinn Van Tran, was beating his girlfriend who's 6 months pregnant.
And every few seconds he would turn around and like push her, and then he actually kicked her. I told him to calm down, and then he just was irate.
Ryan said Tran refused to stop, so he jumped in and pushed him away.
I saw that no one was intervening in the situation, and I became afraid for her safety and also other customers' safety. You know, the guy was out of control. You know, he was going pretty much lost it in there.
Delray Oaks Police Chief Ron Langford said Tran was getting so violent, if Ryan didn't interfere, things could have gotten a lot worse for the victim. Now, a month later, police say Ryan did the right thing, but Safeway disagrees and suspended him from work without pay. And there's no word on whether he'll be back on the job.
We understand about policies, but at some point, someone has to do something. And in my mind, in this case, Ryan did the right thing.
His wife is 5 months pregnant, and they have no income right now and doesn't know when that will change.
It's a tremendous amount of stress, you know, on me, my wife as well, you know, and I don't think anyone should have to second guess themselves or feel bad about doing what was right.
Even if Safeway doesn't agree because he didn't follow policy, Ryan has no regrets.
How many people have been, you know, injured, murdered, whatever, because in front of everyone, because everyone wants to look the other way and nobody wants to get involved.
I did reach out to Safeway's public affairs to see when Ryan would be able to go back to work or if he can go back to work. And right now they say at this time they don't have anything to say. Jacqueline Tuwala in Delray Oaks, your Central Coast News.
Most of you think Ryan did do the right thing and Safeway is doing the wrong thing.
Across the nation, people are sending emails and Facebook messages to get Ryan his job back. Anderson Cooper even wants to speak with Ryan. But only Central Coast News reporter Jacqueline Tuwala talked to him. She's in our interactive center with how this story, Jacqueline, has gone viral.
That's right, Mark. This case has been getting so much attention, and I'm here in the Interactive Center where many of you, almost 100 of you, actually commented on our Facebook page. Let me read you a couple of these. Carolyn says, congratulations to that young man. He's a hero in my book, and shame on Safeway. And then another person said, absolutely ridiculous. I'm not shopping at any Safeway until Mr. Young is reinstated. Now the question becomes, is doing the right thing too hard to do?
I think it's outrageous. I think Safeway should be proud that they have somebody who's prepared to act like a hero in those circumstances.
I would hope that the company would review what actually happened and take that into consideration.
That's what Ryan Young is hoping will happen. Today, he remains suspended without pay for breaking Safeway policy. Police say he stopped a man beating his pregnant girlfriend in this Delray Oaks Safeway. When I talked exclusively with Ryan yesterday, he explained why he did it.
If it was their wife who's pregnant or their daughter who's pregnant who was being attacked, would they want somebody to step in and help them?
Safeway says it's looking at surveillance video of what happened last month. The district attorney's office also has a copy to use it as evidence. It won't release the video, but finally Safeway did send Central Coast News a statement. A spokesperson for the grocery store said, quote, there are two sides to every story and we would ask that judgment be reserved. The matter is being handled through the union grievance procedure provided for in our labor agreement, end quote. Defense attorney Tom Worthington told me Safeway and Ryan are in a difficult position.
They can't have a policy that just gives carte blanche to the employees to intervene anytime, anywhere that the employee thinks is suitable. But on the other hand, they can't, in my judgment, shouldn't have a policy that is so strict that an employee can't do the right thing.
Now Ryan and people across the country hope Safeway does what most of you are calling the right thing.
I should be reinstated to my job. That's how I feel.
All right, so Jacqueline, Ryan's been suspended without pay. What's next for Ryan, at least?
Well, right now it's basically a waiting game. He has not heard anything from Safeway yet, but the president union representatives said they're trying to do everything they can to help him financially through this tough time.
And speaking of the outreach, we spoke earlier, you're even getting personal emails from a woman as far as Tennessee?
Yeah, I've just been getting so many emails. People from Virginia to Tennessee have been emailing me, asking me what's going to happen next for him, and they just can't believe what's happening, and they're demanding answers from Safeway.
And ready for this to all be wrapped up. You know, it struck a chord with many, many people. All right, thanks,
Absolutely.
Jacqueline.
All right, we want to know what you think, and we're making it pretty easy. It's a simple text message. Text KION to the number 28201 and answer this question. Would you intervene and help save someone's life, even if it meant that you could get fired? Reply with 1 for yes and 2 for no. Standard text message rates do apply.
A Good Samaritan suspended. We broke the big story Tuesday. That's when you first met Ryan Young, a Safeway worker who stepped in when he saw a man assaulting his pregnant girlfriend.
I've been suspended for probably over just about a month now without pay, you know, for doing something that I feel was right, that the police are telling me was right.
Delray Oaks police even wrote a commendation letter supporting what Ryan did.
We understand about policies, but at some point someone has to do something. And in my mind, in this case, Ryan did the right thing.
You heard the story and the responses started flooding in.
I think it's outrageous. I think Safeway should be proud that they have somebody who's prepared to act like a hero.
Safeway management isn't talking. Wednesday, the store finally released a statement saying, in part, Safeway is taking this matter seriously. We have store security video of the incident and have been engaged in a careful and thoughtful forensic review of what transpired.
Well, this local controversy is now making national news.
Just this morning, Ryan Young was on CNN, and tonight Ryan is responding to the outpouring of support. Here's Jacqueline Tuwala with why, even with all the support, he's still worried.
It's unbelievable to me that how people are, you know, rallying behind me.
Ryan Young is taken by how his story struck a chord with people locally and all across the country. And the past 48 hours since this story aired, the station has been flooded with emails and Facebook comments. Mark will be reading a couple of those to you in just a moment. But the newest thing is this petition going around saying Ryan didn't do anything wrong.
I just want to thank each and every one of those people for, you know, just taking the time out and just, you know, having the gratitude to just, you know, extend their comments.
Ryan continues to stand by what he did last month while working at the Delray Oaks Safeway, stepping in when a pregnant woman was being assaulted by her boyfriend. If he didn't get involved, police say she could have been hurt badly. But that decision has cost Ryan a paycheck, and although he appreciates the outpouring from the public, he wishes Safeway would also back him up.
I'm still very worried about my job, and am I going to be terminated or not? Am I going to be, you know, allowed to return? Am I going to get compensated for lost wages? You know, it's a lot on my mind.
I've tried to reach Safeway 3 times today for an update. So far, nothing. Here's a statement from Safeway yesterday, in part saying, quote, "There are 2 sides to every story, and we would ask that judgment be reserved. The matter is being handled through the union grievance procedure provided for in our labor agreement," end quote. For Ryan, he hopes Safeway ends up on his side so he can get back to work and get ready for his new baby due to arrive in October.
Today, the man accused of the assault was in court and had something to say to Ryan.
I want to say to Ryan Young, you know what I'm saying, thank you. I'm sorry because you lost your job, but we in the same boat, you know what I'm saying. Don't think I'm the bad guy, because I'm not, you know what I'm saying. I'm about to have a kid too. I understand where you're coming from, so nobody win a situation, you know.
I'm Jazz. This is Mark. Now, shortly after that interview, Quinn Tran pleaded no contest to battery.
The no contest plea means that Tran doesn't dispute charges that he assaulted his pregnant girlfriend inside the Delray Oaks Safeway last month.
So does this event help suspended Good Samaritan Ryan Young in his quest to get his job back? We're going to check on that and the new witness who's now talking. First, Jacqueline Tuwala in court.
Quinn Tran says he didn't expect a trip to see his girlfriend to end with a no contest plea to battery inside this courtroom. Tran was visiting from Oakland when the couple went to the Delray Oaks Safeway.
We was having a verbal argument, and I don't know why he came up to me and, he assaulted me.
Tran is talking about Safeway employee Ryan Young. Police say Young stepped in when he witnessed Tran assaulting his girlfriend. Tran says it didn't quite go down like that.
No kicking, no pushing, nothing that police say happened.
The pushing is I try to get away from her.
What was she doing to you?
She was trying to grab my keys.
And police say you threw it at her.
Yeah, because I try to get away from her. Because if she keep coming to me, trying to grab my keys, that's the thing she wants, so I just throw the key at her.
Police have a different story based on surveillance from the store that day. The chief even wrote a commendation letter supporting Young. In it, it says in part, quote, "We commend him for his action that prevented further injury to the victim," end quote.
I don't want to make this case of a big deal because I did what I did, I was wrong.
Today, a witness talked to Central Coast News. He didn't want to be identified, but said what he saw could have gotten serious.
It could have escalated, and it could have escalated quickly. And I think, the reason why it didn't escalate it was because the guy that worked at Safeway stepped in.
But stepping in has Ryan Young suspended without pay from Safeway with his own baby on the way, and no word yet on whether today's plea will help change that.
He don't have a job, and my job is on the line. He got no money to take care of his kids. I got no money to take care of my kids.
And despite Tran thinking this has all been blown out of proportion, he does say,
I'm not saying what he did is wrong. I know he did what he had to do. I would have did the same thing.
All right, so Jacqueline, interesting that Tran wants Ryan Young to get his job back. In the meantime, what is Tran facing in terms of sentencing?
Well, he can face up to 6 months in county jail because of the simple battery.
Well, Mark and Jazz, another protest like this one is planned for later this week. You can see dozens of people took to the Delray Oaks and Safeway over the weekend to show their support for Ryan Young. This outpour of support is speeding up that process that will determine his fate with the grocery giant. Tomorrow could be decision day. Ryan Young might find out if he gets his job back at Safeway.
It's maybe happening a little faster than it might. Often these things, sit out for a while before we get, meetings scheduled and all that. But, given the nature of it, we asked the company and they agreed to expedite this thing.
In his 33 years with the union, President Ron Lynn says he never saw a grievance case get so much attention. Safeway suspended Ryan without pay after he broke up a domestic dispute inside this store. Late Friday, Safeway said it didn't suspend him for breaking up the fight, but for what else surveillance video shows Ryan doing. But police say Ryan did nothing wrong.
Safeway isn't safe.
Shoppers are even protesting the store. Others took to this petition online.
This is just a whole different set of circumstances, and my guess is maybe they'll look at it a little bit differently because of that.
In tomorrow's hearing, Ryan, Safeway, the union, and witnesses will talk about what happened and if Ryan should get his job back.
Sometimes we convince the company that they did something wrong, and they'll agree, and they'll resolve things and give somebody back pay and put them back to work.
If they don't reach some sort of agreement, an arbitrator will make the final decision.
Pretty compelling story. Everybody has to see all the evidence and whatever is out there. Maybe there's something we don't know.
Again, a decision could be made as early as tomorrow, or this process could even take several months. Jacqueline Tuwala, your Central Coast News.
This Good Samaritan reinstated. Safeway is putting Ryan Young back to work after suspending him for stopping a man from beating his pregnant girlfriend in the Delray Oaks store.
I can definitely rest easier now, knowing that I have a job, and knowing that the right thing was done. I can definitely sleep easier and definitely move forward.
Well, Ryan called Central Coast News minutes after learning he was going back to work and getting that back pay. You saw it first on KIONrightnow.com. I'm Jazz. This is Mark.
Well, we even broke the news to Safeway's PR director, who had no idea about the decision.
I'm just happy that, closure was brought to the situation and returning to work, and that the outcome turned out the way it did.
Ryan Young's long, agonizing wait to learn his fate with Safeway is over. The soon-to-be father couldn't provide for his family after Safeway suspended him without pay for over a month.
Well, I'm relieved now because, the future is more certain now. I know I'm going to have the finances I need. I'm going to have the health care I need for my child. And just that alone is... I just feel just a lot more secure now.
Secure because of your outpouring of support. Across the country, hundreds of thousands of people signed an electronic petition demanding Ryan get his job back.
Safeway isn't safe.
People also picketed outside the Safeway in Delray Oaks.
People have their own problems as well. So for them to take a minute from their own life and support me and what I'm going through was a humbling experience, to say the least.
As soon as Ryan got the good news, he called and told me so we could get the word out. I immediately called Safeway to get its response, and the spokesperson didn't even know about the decision. She eventually sent Central Coast News this statement saying in part, quote, "Our investigation was intended to ensure that we understood the entire incident as fully as possible and to learn if there were opportunities to resolve the conflict differently. There were such opportunities, and we will provide additional training as part of the resolution agreement," end quote.
Mr. Ryan Young did the right thing. He did it selflessly. He helped that lady out. Safeway Corporation came to the right decision.
A decision Ryan knows may not have happened if it wasn't for everyone's support.
I appreciate your coverage. I appreciate your help and KION's interest in this story. I'm just able to move forward now. I'm able to go back to work, move forward, and focus on my life now again.
All right, so Jackie, you've been covering this story since day one. First, when is he actually going to go back to work?
Well, we don't know exactly which day he's going back to work, but we do know he's on the work schedule for next week. So he should be getting on his feet pretty soon.
And punching the time clock. Exactly. All right, so with so many people knowing about Ryan's story, so many people are impressed by his actions. He's had to have gotten other job offers.
Oh yeah, this case has gotten so much attention that now the LA County Sheriff's Office wants him on board. So.
And how'd you hear about that?
They actually emailed us. The office emailed us, and then I forwarded that contact information over to Ryan. So looks
many
like he's not
roads
out
he
of
could
luck
take.
either way.
No, exactly. All right, thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Well, as we said earlier, this story has had many of you talking. One person created this petition on change.org to get Ryan his job back, and as you can see, more than 200,000 people signed the petition. Now, over on Facebook, almost 300 of you like the news story about Ryan Young, and many of you have joined the conversation. We want to get to a comment, pull it up right here. This one from Terry Gardner-Mora. She said, good news, Safeway needed to make this right. Another comment from Pez Lobo. He agrees, saying kudos to Safeway for doing the right thing. Public pressure and a union representation helped this young man keep his job. Well, join the conversation on our Facebook page. You can find us by searching Central Coast News, KION, KCBA, and we'll be reading more of the comments later in the show.